Hey, everybody, welcome to this edition of Hollywood Live. As usual, we're going to inform, enlighten, and entertain you with one of the people who have really been in the entertainment business. She has had so many jobs as executive. She has done much of the TV that you have seen over the years on a variety of networks. I'm talking about the one and only D'Angela Proctor. Hello, how are you?
Hi. Hi, Tanya.
I'm so glad to see you and have you on the show. I don't think we've been doing this now for, good Lord, about 4 or 5 years, and this is the first time you've been on. I don't know why.
Okay, it's no better time than now.
It no better time than now because we are in a strike mode here that doesn't seem like there is any end in sight. And D'Angela, we kind of brought you on today to give us a look at what we are really dealing with here and how do we work around this in these very strange times. Like I said, you
Sure.
have been on the production side. You've been a producer. You've run networks. I could go on to OWN and TV One and a variety of places. So looking at it from a producer side, why is it so hard for the studios to come to the table on this stuff?
I mean, I think well, first of all, let me just thank you for having me. It's great to be here talking to you today. And I mean, we go back so many years, so it's so good to be talking to you in this format. We see each other and we have our little affinity and love affair for one another. So it's good to be here in this forum, and I can share that love with your audience.
Oh,
That you're
thank you.
remarkable and always have been.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
so I mean, in a nutshell, I think that you can boil everything down to one word, and that's greed. Um, and it's when people have something that they want to hold on to, they will sacrifice a lot of things in order to keep that. And I think we see that in this climate that we have in the world, not just in entertainment. But I think it's just pure, unadulterated greed, and it's also the unknown, fear of the unknown, fear of am I giving up something that I'm going to regret giving up later on? And that's on both sides, right? I think that what the strikers have learned in the past is, we have to fight when we have the stance to fight, and we can't wait until the next iteration of the collective bargaining agreement to deal with issues that we know will be coming down the path. We have to deal with them now.
Yeah. And in doing so, though, it seems that I get, because I've been a member of SAG for, good Lord, more than half my life. And so I get all the notices. Today was a big day for getting out, striking, and combining efforts with the WGA. And a lot of people in this town, seems like everybody in LA is on strike.
Right.
We got the hotel workers on strike, a couple of other groups. And so everybody.
I was riding down the street from the airport yesterday and saw a big sign saying Southwest airline pilots may be going on strike. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. And it seems that labor itself is under fire. Is that really the bigger issue that you think that we're looking at?
Well, I do think it's the climate. I do think it's the zeitgeist. I think that it is no happenstance that all of these things are happening leading to an election year. And I also think that there's no happenstance that there are a lot of changes from a corporate standpoint where corporations don't want to embrace unionization because it affects their bottom line. And I would say for the past decade, at least as far as I can tell, the world has always been run by capitalism, but it seems like it's more so now than ever, where it's this pull yourself up from your bootstrap mentality. And, like if you want to succeed, you can be successful. We don't have to, give portions of our spoils through taxation or through raises. I mean, I can't believe that companies actually fight increasing a minimum wage, because in some states it's like $7. You can't live off $7 an hour.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's just the zeitgeist. I think it's the climate. I think it's the election. I think it's it's just a lot of things just kind of rolled up into one that's making this atmosphere the way that it is.
So you've actually come up with some things, though, to help people out, and I wanted to talk about that. We are obviously in a financial warfare here. People, and again, it's always so interesting, and I know you know this. When you live in Hollywood or you live in LA and you're in the industry, everybody assumes that you're making a lot of money. So people were shocked when they found out that most actors only make $27,000 a year if they're lucky. All of them don't even do that if they're lucky. So, and you certainly can't live off of that here in LA.
Right.
I mean, that's like a penny. Basically. So we've got a lot of people out of work. We've got all the ancillary people. We're losing millions of dollars. We've already lost over $100 million with both of these strikes. Just the revenue that comes in to the state from all of the ancillary stuff, the hair, the makeup, all these people that are now out of work. So what should they do? What is there anything you can do? I mean, I do notice that I think this week the union said that they were going to start providing unemployment. I think that's the latest thing on the table, and which they're going to have to for a lot of people if you're qualified. But what are some other things we can do?
I think that's a great point, though, because a lot of people may not feel good about accepting public assistance by way of unemployment, but it's your money, right? Like you contributed to it, so don't be afraid or ashamed to apply for any and everything that you qualify for. I mean, don't go out of your way to make yourself qualify for it, right? Because we don't want to see you in jail. But if you qualify for it, you should definitely and absolutely consider applying for it. And there's no shame in that. I think if you're in the content creation business, now is the time to think about different ways to exploit your natural talents in a non-SAG and a non-WGA environment. And in thinking about this, I came up with a short list of some things that people can do in terms of content creation, whether it's podcast or web series. There are people who are doing online courses now. Casting directors can work with actors and charge them for their work, because that's their livelihood and that's their gifting. So there's no shame in trying to capitalize on that. There's corporate videos, there's music videos. I mean, if you own a camera, go out and shoot stock footage. If you own a still camera, go out and do stock images and license them to the libraries that actually license them to Hollywood, and those are mailbox checks that can come even after the strike, right? So it's just really about honing your skills and keeping you busy in that regard. There's also branded content that you can potentially get involved with. So I've been doing some script consulting for people. It's not a lot of money, but hey, if I look at things like this, I could do this, it pays my car note. I can do this one thing, it pays my light bill. I can do this one thing and it contributes to my mortgage. So I look at everything like a pie or as a cake, and I just slice it up like that. So those are some things that people can do. I personally had done some loans last year, some business loans to people, and called those loans and got that money back and got that interest back. Good. And that's really helpful for me. I've been doing consulting. I do consulting for startups, helping them tell their story in their fundraising and in their, telling their story about their desire to scale and their plan to scale and why them, because ultimately people buy into people. And the best way to get someone to buy into you is to make sure that your story is emotional and can capture that audience. So I've been doing some consulting in that arena. I've been consulting filmmakers on distribution strategies. Like, where do you start? Do you go to the streamers? Do you go to television? Do you go to premium? And just having realistic conversations about their content and where I think it can go and how they should go about securing distribution for it. Consulting has really been good for me. Speaking engagements, paid speaking engagements, have been great. Let's see. You know what? Let me tell you what else I did that I probably should have done sooner. I literally went through all of my bills, right? And just started scrubbing the nice to haves. And you'd be amazed at what you can come up with. I'm a consumer of content, so I had satellite TV, I had YouTube TV, Hulu, Disney, this. I mean, I had all of these services, and I never cut the cord, but I added all those services. So that means my home entertainment bill was like double what a normal cable bill would be. So I just start cutting stuff out. All of these things like subscriptions that they catch you on.
Yes.
Right. Like, I subscribed to that. Like, I had done something on Coursera. I didn't even know I'd signed up for it. I looked at my credit card. They were taking $40 a month.
I know.
Credit card. I just completely forgot. So don't forget about the money that you can find sitting at home.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right about that. But the only thing you should be funny you'd say that. This week I made out a list of things I needed to get rid of. Girl, try calling those people and trying to get rid of that stuff.
So easy to sign up, and it is a disaster trying to get out of it.
Oh, it absolutely, but you can, like I'm going to call the bank. The bank will help you out because that's who I've got to now call. Because some of these people, like, there's no phone, there's no way. I sent them an email. They sent me an email back saying, "Oh, you want to add on to this service?" I'm like, no.
That's right. They'll get you. And then,
one of the other things.
One thing that I did too, Tanya, is I was blessed with the ability to buy a house. I lived in a townhouse here in California for many years, but I bought a house at the top of COVID, and I redesigned the outdoor area around the pool because I wanted to be outside a lot because it was COVID. Right. So I designed it for me, right? And so now I rent out that space. I rent out that space. So like, you can't ignore like the gig economy either, right? So there are these apps that you can put your house on or your space. People are renting out rooms, but I also rented out my space for a music video. Jazz musicians photo shoot. So that was really fun. And he jumped in the pool and was playing his trumpet in the water. It was great.
Oh, wow. So, and they don't even have to come in your house either. They don't.
Not a lot of them. Yeah.
Not a lot. Yeah.
Give them access to their toilet.
Right. Exactly.
Give them access to the restroom. And then I've also been, blessed enough to be able to, like, I throw events. So I just got back from DC 2 days ago, where I was a part of a group of people where we threw parties for the Howard and Morehouse game. Listen, I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
Yes, you are.
I am an entrepreneur at heart. So what I'm challenged with is slowing down and figuring out the right things to do, as opposed to, I could do this, I could do this, I could do that. And that just comes from me hustling my entire life.
Yeah, well, girl, you've done it really well. Talk about some of the shows that you have been a part of and responsible for. I mean, you were with TV1 for a long time and ran the network. Tell me about some of those shows that really stand out as your favorites.
Sure. Well, I was the head of programming, of original programming and production, and casting and talent reported to me as well. So, I mean, of course, you can't, you got to throw in Unsung, that was there long before I got there and will be there and has been there long after I left. But Unsung it's just one of those gifts that keep on giving. Yeah. But what I did, one of the things that I was really proud of is that we expanded Unsung outside of the traditional music space, and we did Unsung Hollywood. And so we were able to show actors and actresses and comedians. And then we also did an unsung movie where we told the story of Mickey Howard, Love Under New Management. And I'm really, really proud of that. And Tiana Paris did her thing playing Mickey Howard. It was an amazing experience. She's wonderful. Let's see, some of the other things we did. Oh my gosh, we did thousands of hours of programming while I was there. I launched News One Now with Roland Martin, and we did town halls with him and Secretary Clinton and Senator Sanders. We did a co-production with CNN for a town hall for both of them. And like we did so much good stuff. Sitcoms, Born Again Virgin, Here We Go Again. We did I think I did maybe 40 movies, developed 40 movies or so. And we did faith-based movies. We did thrillers, which were an expansion of the Fatal Attraction franchise for TV One. It was a remarkable time. And we were talking about this earlier off screen about the Obama years. So it was such a great time because I lived in DC when President Obama was in office, and we were able to partner with PBS, and we did In Performance at the White House with the President and First Lady. And so that was remarkable.
Yeah, no, those were the good times. I mean, what's so fun, we were saying, everybody is talking now about how life is so hard, and it is. But, and everybody said, well, that's life. I'm like, no, that hasn't always been life. Let's keep this real. We had a really good 8-year run when he was president. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody has to say about that, but that's the truth.
Well, can I say that that's also about hope, right? Like, we could have been going through things, but it didn't feel like we were going through things because we had a leader that fostered hope.
Yes, you are so right about that. Looking now, though, where we are, and especially with what's happening, one of the other things I wanted to mention, you also talk about strategic coalitions, strategic partnerships. How do we forge that? And when I say we, I'm talking about us in the industry with all of this stuff going on and people not wanting to talk to each other. But how do we go ahead and do that anyway?
Well, this business is relational. I've not had any huge opportunity in this business without someone vouching, sponsoring, whether I knew it or not. And I think it's a non-negotiable. You have to coalition build with others in this business in order to be successful, because it's hard. What we do is really, really, really difficult.
People don't realize that at all. Looking back again at some of the successes that you've had, thinking now about, because one of the big things is AI.
Sure.
It is not going away. And in fact, they've got their own AI commercials now for everybody to sign up and sign on and start using it. And people are. How do you think that that's going, and especially since you've had such a long relationship working with talent as a producer and writers, should we be as frightened as everybody really is about this?
Sure, we should be frightened, but you should do it anyway. You should be frightened, but you should also embrace it because it's coming. It's inevitable. Generative AI, I use it every day. If I want to draft an email and my email is a little strong or harsh, so I do a stream of consciousness, and then I'll punch it into AI and I'll say, can you soften this up a little bit, right? And then I'll go back and I'll say, oh, that's too soft. Bring it back a little bit. I use it for, like I can put a synopsis in there, and I was like, you know what, something that I've written, I need it to be distilled into 2 sentences. And I'll punch that in there, and it works. Like, I use it every single day. Now, that's different than what I think you're referring to in terms of actors and actresses, where their voices and their name. And I do not subscribe to that. I don't think that, because it's theft, right? It's your name, image, and likeness should not, and your voice, none of those things should be taken without you being compensated for it. So I think that it should be used as a tool and not as a way to replace human interaction or acting or talent or anything like that.
Well, and you're pretty much where the union is, WGA and SAG especially, is on this. I don't think that the studios are there, though. I think they are really thinking about replacing people. I think they don't know. I think that they're afraid.
I think that fear is driving fear and greed. I talked about greed earlier. Let's go on the other side of that coin. And I think it's fear. I think it's because some people just don't know how far it can go. So they don't want to have an opinion about it. They want to freeze it. They want to let's wait and see.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's going to be used.
See, the problem I have with that, all they need to do is call those kids at MIT and Harvard who have been doing this forever. They can tell you 10 years. They know right now where this is going to be 10 years from now.
True.
They know that because they're creating it. That's all they got to do. They're not smart enough. It's like a lack of being smart enough. Who are you going to call when you don't know? Right. Because you're right. They don't know. I know those kids. I know that they could give them some answers. Right. And,
I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, really. So I'm just not sure. I'm hearing right now, first we heard, well, maybe September, they'll be talking. Well, you know what? It's like, middle of September today. Nobody is at the table.
This may be, and I'm sure this may not be the most popular opinion, but I believe that the studios, because I've been in the inside, I believe that the studios are using the strike as an excuse to do a lot of housekeeping. I think it's allowing them to to restructure, do some organizational realignment, and they're blaming it on the strike. I believe that they are, I don't know, I just think that it's not just about the strike. I think that it is about some business issues, and they're different for every studio and every business, right? I think that they're taking this as a time to write down a lot of things, of course, using the strike as an excuse so that it doesn't affect the street.
Yeah. Well, and of course, we're talking about Wall Street when we
Yes, Wall Street.
So what happens? We are into the fall. When will we start seeing programming actually change? Because, Netflix claims they're not going to run out for a very long time. They probably won't. The networks, I'm not really sure. I cannot watch another rerun of late night, and I like late night TV. Right. But, I can't watch it. At least we got daytime coming back. So, but for the regular shows, like all of our shows that we like and watch, what do you think will happen? And when will that happen?
I think everything is going to be pushed back at least 6 to 8 months. I think we'll be back in business at the top of the year.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of, studios and I think they were prepared for it this time, unlike, the last time. And I think I was, as a producer and now director, I don't know if you know this, but I've directed. But as a producer and a director, I know that they stockpiled content to be prepared. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, they did. And that's what I'm saying. So when do they run out of that? So you think by the end of the year, they'll start running out.
They'll start feeling it.
They'll feel it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they'll probably go until they feel it. I don't know what else to say.
I agree.
D'Angela, I am so proud of you and what you've done. I want us to work together again at some point soon. We've got to. And I want everybody to know you're also a woman of God. You really, you are.
Let's rewind as though it is at the top of this half hour. You absolutely, in order to get through all the things that we are going through now, you have to have faith.
Yeah, you do.
And you have to have faith. My faith is in Jesus Christ. You can do what you want to do, but let me tell you, He has never failed me yet. And I am so super uber grateful. See my shirt?
Grateful. I love it.
I am grateful. I am blessed.
Okay.
And my cup overflows. There's my lipstick. My cup overflows overflows with blessings. And I am so grateful to God for everything that He's given me. And this is a trying time, even for me, because it's a trying time. But I know that He is the source.
Yeah. And here we are. We still keep it going, and I'm loving you for that. And like I said, this will pass, because we know, as people of faith, it always does.
It does.
And we know how that we're all kept, in that.
Absolutely.
In that in that time. So good to see you again. We will be back when this is over. We'll go and we'll have a little party, have a Zoom party, say, okay, it's over. We all back in business here.
Not a Zoom party. We need to have a party.
For it, I know. What's the one project now that you're directing, and what is the one thing that you can't wait to do when all this is over?
You know what? I want to direct again. And I'll make sure the goal now is to just make sure it's the right next thing. And that's what I'm searching for. But if this strike continues much longer, I actually plan to independently direct something and go to SAG and request an interim agreement so that I can make something between now and the end of the year, because I want to hone that skill a little more. Not a little more, a lot more, just to make sure that it's the place where I'm supposed to be. Because as a believer, I do know that faith without works is dead, right? And that you have to study to show thyself approved.
That is so true. What is it you'll be directing? Just to give us a little tip ahead of everybody.
I don't know yet. I have a thriller, and I have a Christmas movie, and I have a drama. I'm basing it on the strength of the script. Mm-hmm. So I'm developing 3 projects right now, and the one that comes out the best, and when I read it, I feel like I'll know.
Yeah, you got it. And you will, because you've got that kind of experience and you've had too many hits not to know. So you will know, and it will be.
It'll definitely be something commercial. Like I'm in this for the business of show business.
Of course. And you've done very well at that. D'Angelo Proctor, thank you so much for all of your knowledge and just for being the person that you've been and for helping me out over the years when I needed to. Always call D'Angela. She'll have an answer, and you always answer. So thank you so much for that, and stay safe, stay strong. And for everybody else out there, we're so glad you joined us today. And check this lady out. You can Google her, you can do a bunch of other stuff and just see, because she's done, like I said, a whole bunch of stuff. So check us out next time. Don't forget to take care of yourself and somebody else.